It not only corrected my eyesight spontaneously, but also healed all lifestyle diseases, working as a miraculous panacea. My name is Laadi Ojas. Welcome to Skeletal Leap, a living adventure. Skeletal Leap transforms one's life into a personal heaven. Today's episode will introduce you to what all you are going to get out of this entire podcast and how it will enable you to create your personal heaven for yourself in life, like I created mine. Skeletal Leap, the mind body connection for mind and body healing, is a giant leap that our skeleton can take through the way it postures itself and adopts the said posture as its first nature for good. It can easily do so through maneuvering its various joints dynamically in a specific manner. Dynamically means while making all kinds of movements which it needs to make during the course of our daily chores. Even when our body is static without making any moves, it needs to maintain the said maneuvers. It applies to all kinds of static postures and dynamic movements, including lying down, sitting, standing, walking, jogging, running, diving, relaxing, exercising, cooking, eating, drinking, excreting, and even having sex. I underwent an arduous journey through unearthing the most promising skeletal codes, starting with a miracle that I coincidentally stumbled upon many years ago. In fact, I was a myope born with a myopic eye needing a -5 diopter powered lens on one of my eyes, which later spontaneously turned to -2.25 diopter on both my eyes slowly and gradually over the years by the age of 20. But at the age of 53, the said miracles instantly started showing me everything crystal clear in the field of my vision, far and wide. It took me quite a few years to analyze the said miracle fully, and then a few more to consciously expand it to its associated miracles, turning the entire set of those analyses into a feasible action plan that works as an instant panacea activated via easy to follow skeletal codes. Although these are easy to follow codes, they do take some time to make themselves your first nature of how you habitually posture your skeleton dynamically at its various movable joints. As I said, I had stumbled upon this miracle many years ago coincidentally. It took me quite a few years to analyze it fully, and then a few more to turn the results of my analysis into a feasible action plan. And now, Skeletal Leap is that feasible action plan. The materialistic approach strictly follows the scientific framework through all the knowledge that science has accumulated about life up till now. But since life is an extraordinarily complex phenomenon, science has not yet been able to solve it in its entirety. To fill these gaps, there are many hypotheses that have been suggested by some vitalistic systems trying to explain various different phenomena that humanity has observed through all these years of its evolved existence as a thinking species. Although they don't have a solid support of scientific proofs behind them, yet they do have their own statistical data of occurrences that fit in to suggest their hypothesis is right. The reality of life seems to lie somewhere in between the boundaries of these two approaches. One such vitalistic hypothesis that I came across tended to explain a lot about the miracle I had stumbled upon. But unfortunately, this entire discipline was laden with all the cock and bull stories being propagated more than the real genuine stuff it was essentially built upon. It's an ancient system of knowledge popularly known as the chakra discipline. Under its basic essential structure, it tended to explain the phenomenon of the miracle I had stumbled upon. But so much of fluff had been added to it that it turned into an esoteric mysticism which no one really understood and kept propagating it as a rhetoric more than the real content. I had to save the wheat from the chaff, which I did. In doing so, I was luckily able to make another discovery that tended to bring this hypothesis closer to materialistic approach than its original vitalistic concept. In its vitalistic conception, it had spoken of seven chakras being a part of what it called the ethereal body, which had no scientific proof of its existence. On this premise, it asserted that these seven chakras were the seven centers of energy, the said energy being the life energy imbibing matter with life. It also asserted that they could either be closed or open. When closed, they were said to be blocking the flow of this life energy through an ethereal nerve named Sushumna from the lowest chakra to the highest one. When open, they simply didn't block the flow of the said energy named Kundalini through the said ethereal nerve, rendering the person concerned with an abundance of energy at their disposal. Surprisingly, I was able to find something quite parallel to the flow of bioenergy through a physical nerve named the vagus nerve, meant to communicate between the gut, that's also called the second brain at the location of the lowest chakra, and the brain at the location of the highest chakra. When the communication, which is mostly directed from the gut to the brain, is smooth, the nervous system works the most efficiently, rendering the person concerned with an abundance of energy at their disposal. It was not a casually trivial similarity, and hence it encouraged me to look for the existence of the said seven chakras in the physical body as such. Luckily, I was able to precisely locate their source very much in the physical body decisively. I discovered that they came into existence via skeletal joints postured in a compromised manner, negatively affecting the associated muscles, nerves comprising primarily the branches of the vagus nerve and blood vessels. It resulted in blocking free flow of communication between the gut and the brain, compromising the entire physiology, rendering it seriously devoid of biological energy at the disposal of the person concerned. And in doing so, I wasn't just hypothesizing, but was getting an instant physiological feedback as I experimented with my discovery of the new skeletal chakras via skeletal joints postured in a compromised manner. My testing ground was my experiment with my own compromised eyesight, which I was trying to instantly correct through opening the two skeletal chakras in the skull, namely the third eye chakra and the crown chakra. The experiment worked and it proved my hypothesis of chakras being skeletal in their origin of existence in the physical body alone. Now, I had to correct a few conceptions about them. The first of them was that there was nothing like an open chakra, which actually meant no chakra at all. If they existed, they were bound to be closed. Hence, they were simply not the centers of energy. They rather were only the closed ones, blocking the flow of energy between the lowest of them to the highest one of them through the nerve between the two, whether it was vagus or sushumna. The energy could also be either bioenergy or kundalini, both working exactly the same way. It was a miracle, so to say. I mastered the discipline and ventured into my skeletal leap. It not only corrected my eyesight spontaneously, but also healed all lifestyle diseases, working as a miraculous panacea. This created a personal heaven for me in my life, with a way more energetic body, mind, and spirit at my disposal. It also increased my immunity to acute diseases manifold. Once I created my own personal heaven, my passion made it my mission to spread the word, so that everyone around was able to create their own personal heavens as well. And I'm confident enough that once you take your skeletal leap, your passion will automatically make it your mission too. The mission may spread like wildfire sooner than later. It has the power to address not only our personal concerns, but our social ills as well. It sends a shiver up my spine when I imagine everyone's passion making it everyone's mission. In this podcast, I have not merely given this plan as a simple set of instructions to blindly follow without really understanding the insights behind them. And the best way to do so is to share my memoir of this entire journey step by step through its episodes, each one of them enumerating its associated code in the PDF documents downloadable in the resources section of Skeletal Leap Book 1, available on skeletalleap.com/ the mind body connection. Are we ready to gift a better life to ourselves today and bequeath a better world to our loved ones for tomorrow? A life devoid of disease, stress, despair, and unfulfilled emotions. And a world devoid of barbed wires, turmoil, confusion, competition, conspiracies, scarcity, and most significantly, a world devoid of a lurking threat of climatic apocalypse. It will lead us to a life replete with health, energy, joy, passion, and fulfillment, and a world replete with freedom, peace, insight, collaboration, opportunities, abundance, and a safe future for all species of life on Earth. We are running against time. It's now or never. We need to choose one out of the two options available to us at this crucial juncture of time in the evolution of life on Earth before the impending climatic apocalypse kills us all. What do we choose? Hell or heaven? And we need to choose it now. We no more have the luxury of time to think over it. It's time to act. Act now or perish soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Skeletal Leap, a living adventure. In the next episode, I will tell you how I coincidentally stumbled upon an instant miracle that changed my life forever as it turned into the seed that grew this huge tree of skeletal leaf promising a heaven on earth. In fact, I will be sharing a bit of my past life that made this coincidental stumble so important for me to analyze it in its absolute depth. Be a part of Skeletal Leap community. Subscribe to Skeletal Leap newsletter. Click on the link in the description to subscribe.